How do we explain? It's one thing to play badly. It's another thing that just seemed to be a lack of intensity last night that is very difficult to figure.
There's no urgency there. And the idea that you could just flip a switch at this point is bothersome to me. And yes, they have the opportunity to go home and find balance. But this was an opportunity to do something special. You allow a Miami team to continue to develop rhythm and confidence. I thought something interesting that Doc said post-game was that Jimmy Butler has been entirely too comfortable, and he said for 3 games now. And he is the guy, as his confidence grows, the pace and the confidence of this Miami Heat squad grows, so it doesn't get easier just because you go home.
Legler, tell everybody how you spent your evening last night. I liked the way you described.
Well, I grabbed dinner, took a little long to get my meal, and then I had to walk my dog, who travels with me. He's in the hotel right now. And by the time I got back to the room with 6 minutes left in the first quarter, the game was over. I mean, the dog wasn't even interested in looking at the game. I knew I had a problem on my hands. I was so disappointed because, you know, obviously we got 2 Game 5s last night, 2-2. Well, I'm sitting down for thinking 5 hours of drama. That's what I want to see right now. Got maybe total of about an hour and a half. And that's all of the first half of the Miami Dallas Phoenix game. Listen, I don't like the fact that I'm hearing phrases like not engaged, lack of energy. I just can't fathom how those words are coming out of people's mouths or participated in this kind of game. I understand if you don't play well, but not to say that. And it was obvious. They're being honest because that's the truth. They weren't engaged. There was no energy. There was no fight. You know, people in Philadelphia, there's a lot being made about is there hangover with Embiid about this MVP thing. I would hope to think that had nothing to do with what we saw last night. I just think they did not have the toughness and the fight necessary for that moment.
Alan, that's not the hangover most people get in South Beach, but I'll leave that.
Here we go.
I'll give you the hangover. No, yeah. I'll give you that. First of all, I bet your dog gave a better effort or more effort on that walk than the Sixers did.
Oh, he gave me everything he had.
He's got, right? He gave you all he had. No. Well, because what your stars, and like you know this, your stars really lead the way, especially on the road in the playoffs. And Joel Embiid, as we saw in the highlights there, was getting beat up. They were obviously making sure they were fronting him. They were making him work hard on the post. They were making him have to work for everything. And he had the back, he had the face, everything. But James Harden, again, doesn't show up on the road. At home, averaging 24 a game in those 2 games. 7-5 rebounds, 7-5 assists. But 41, 41, 94 his shooting slashes and also getting to the line 9 times a game. In Miami in 3 games, he drops down 7 points a game. He only gets 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and he's 39-28. Or his shoot. So his field goal 39, 28 from 3, and only getting to the line under 5 times a game. So South Beach flu, whatever it is, you weren't getting what you thought you were getting from that fourth quarter performance in Game 4. Maybe something clicked with James. No, it didn't. It stayed in Philly.
So what now? I mean, where do they go back to Philadelphia? You heard Doc say they have no choice but to try and get ready to win that one. They need to win 2 straight games here. Otherwise, the questions will begin.
Yep.
How do you see it?
If you cannot manufacture the proper amount of energy in order to respond, then so what? And honestly, Greeny, rightly or wrongly, at this point, you start to hear about Doc's security in that position. Because if you can't get your guys ready for, I'm looking at Game 5, but golly, if not a Game 6, then what? And I don't know that that's necessarily fair to him, but heavy is the head that wears the crown, and he acknowledged that even he needed to be better to prepare for last night's game.
No question. Sorry. Game 5 of the second round of the playoffs, and my coaches got to get me ready to play?
No, I hear it. I hear it, but I mean, on some level, I agree with you both. You shouldn't need it.
No.
But if the team doesn't play well, it's a reflection on everyone, including the coach.
There's an incredible void of leadership on this team. I think I've noticed it all year. They just don't have those personality types amongst the players in that locker room. Look, Maxey, maybe he gets there one day. He's 21 years old. I absolutely love what he is turning into. That's not his role in this stage. You hope he plays better than he did last night, but when you're that overwhelmed and you're a young player at the start of the game and you see your other 2 star players are looking like that, yeah, it's just too much to dump on him. So it comes down to Embiid and Harden. Even the way they talked after the game, like there's no blood boiling. Where's the blood boiling after the game? Like, that was an embarrassment. Where do you see what we got in Game 6 in Philadelphia? I tell you right now, it's not going to look like that. You just don't hear things like that. It's just, well, I don't really know what happened out there, and it was really good.
It's not good enough.
Pretty easily. And
yeah.
I don't know what happened.
No.
I just don't get it.
I mean, how do you explain that? Because that's, I mean, there's a level of pride. I mean, look at this, the highlights that we're showing, and those are the best plays they had all night long. Look, there's one other point I think that could be made here as we watch Jimmy Butler, who's been the best player in this series.
Oh, yeah.
You know, some people look at life at how things are and they ask why. I look at decisions that were made and I ask why not. We live in an alternative universe where the Sixers decided to keep Jimmy Butler instead of the people they decided to keep. How different would things look right now? Jimmy Butler was on this team a couple of years ago. They made a whole bunch of decisions primarily to keep Ben Simmons and to pay Tobias Harris and let Jimmy Butler walk out the door.
To be fair, Jimmy Butler wanted to go.
Yep.
I mean, so you got to
Jimmy
let
Butler
that.
wanted to go because he didn't want to play with Ben Simmons.
Correct. That's right.
Well, how's that look now?
Well, he looked around. Look, I don't know how deep those conversations got to the point where he went in and said, "Look, it's either Ben Simmons or me." I don't think it got to that point. I think at the end of the year, he realized Ben Simmons is going to be here because he's locked up. He didn't see it playing out the way that it did with Ben Simmons wanting to get out of town. So he looked at that situation, I think, and realized, I don't know if I can win here. I want to go somewhere where I can win. So I don't know that I necessarily put that all on the Sixers. If Jimmy Butler absolutely wanted to stay, he'd be there.
Now,
he wanted to go.
It was Brett Brown that Jimmy Butler had the biggest issue with, and just didn't like the leadership that he was getting from coaching there. And it goes back to the leadership thing you're talking about. And Joel Embiid is last year said that it was a bad decision to let him go, and that they chose really Ben Simmons over Jimmy Butler because Ben needed the ball in his hands, and they let Jimmy walk. And now as you look at it, right, where's the toughness, where's the attitude, where's the leadership? It's in Miami
and
now.
Brett Brown's not there, and Ben Simmons not there anymore.
And I think when we toss the word leadership around, it's sort of this rosy wear your captain's hat. That can be abrasive. That is confrontational. That is, hey, this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
And so Jimmy has been able to find everything that he needs in terms of personality and the makeup. I know people don't necessarily love to hear it, but the Heat culture concept is real.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.